Welcome to Clueless with Oga and Big Pauly. Oh, we're back again with Clueless. Another episode with Oga and Big Pauly. How you going, Big Pauly?
Oga, great to see you. I am excited. I cannot wait for our next guest. We have had him ready to go for weeks now, and we finally got hold of him. Very busy schedule, this man, and he's going to share a lot of information that hopefully after we speak to him, we won't be clueless.
So until we get to that guest, so again, Clueless, if people haven't heard the show before, what we're trying to do here is bring people in. Well, we might discuss other stuff as well, but bring people in to tell us about what we don't know much about and maybe our listeners don't know much about. So, Big Pauly.
And there's a fair bit of stuff that we are clueless about. So we'd like to...
I think we've got plenty of episodes in us, that's for sure.
We've got 4,783 episodes to get through of things that we are totally clueless about. But you were saying off air, Oga, that you had a clueless moment this week.
Oh my God, Big Paulie, totally clueless. So we're talking about myself moving into a new place just under a year ago, and I'm in the process of moving again. Now, when I moved into my new place, I was gifted a bit of stuff, and included in that stuff I was gifted was 2 bedside lamps. Now, very simple lamps, chrome bottom, black shade.
Who gave them to you?
Oh, my sister was getting rid of them.
I thought you meant the real estate agent. That'd be a first for everything.
No. Sort of gifted from a sister. I go, these are pretty cool. But the cool thing about them, Paulie, they don't have a switch. You just tap the bottom, goes on.
Yes.
Tap, just touch it, just graze it, tap it, it's on. Anywhere on that base, on, off, on, off. No, these are okay. These are pretty cool. My youngest son comes along and goes, oh, they're pretty cool. I want to have one of them. So I go, all right, will you have one? So he takes one.
You can't separate the pair.
Well, we did. So he then set it up in his room, and then a week later I go, how's your lamp going? And I went to tap it, and it didn't work, Big Paulie. I go, you got the dud, mate. You got the dud one. There I was with the one that worked. Everything's happy. Not long after, Big Paulie, not very long after, mine doesn't work.
Oh, I can see something going on here.
Well, we have a total, this is a dud gift. Anyway, it's still sat by my bedside table, for just under a year. And I'm going, now that I'm moving place, I'm starting to look at what do I not need in my new place coming up. And I was looking at these lamps, right? And I'm going, well, mine doesn't work. His doesn't work. So I go down. I go, does these lamps work in this room? And he goes, yeah, mine works. I go, no, it was broken when you first got it. So I go over and tap it, and it comes on. And it just hits me, Big Paulie. I go, he did the old switcheroo 9 months ago, and there I am with a busted lamp, and he's had one that's working.
Clueless.
And do you know his response? Totally clueless to the scenario. And do you know what his response was? No, mine's always worked. I'm going, no, it hasn't. And we did this to and fro. And I go, I cannot believe you that you've done that. Well, I could believe that he'd done it, but I couldn't believe it was 9 to 10 months later that I've only just realised it and been totally clueless about the whole situation.
Well, Oga, I tell you, you can't cop any. You've trusted your son. What more can you do? That's what dads do. You trust your son, but he's absolutely shafted you. I thought what you were going to say, Oga, about being clueless was you didn't realise that there was these lamps that you could just touch, the touch lamps, but that wasn't the case. You were just clueless because your son pulled one over you.
Well, again, that is not a common thing. All lamps that I've had in my life are switcheroonies, switch on, switch off. This one was just a little tap. Oh, good night, just lean over, give it a tap, off. Don't have to, look for, go down the cord and find it and click it off and it's behind the bedside table, all that bizzo. We're going, these are pretty cool. I had it for about a week, Big Paulie, so I didn't even get any excitement out of him. And he has he's taken it away from me, and I think I'll be stealing it back as we move house again.
Absolutely, that is now part of, because I'm sure he's paying his share of the rent, of course, to contribute to the theft of the lamps. But I just want to go back.
As 13-year-old,
I just want to go back a step. He's got to be pro rata, surely. Now, Oga, I'm sorry you've had a Clueless episode, but that doesn't surprise me. But I'm a little more intrigued, and maybe this is a discussion for another day. How come you're moving again? Did you get kicked out?
No, not officially. End of lease, and the owner wants to move back in. Does he really? I'm not sure. But anyway,
yeah. Is that a bit like that Coldplay guy who decided to resign on his own accord? Oh,
really? Did he resign? I didn't hear that.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's, gee whiz.
No, I know the story.
Clueless.
I know the story, but I haven't followed it through. I haven't followed it through to know he's resigned.
How clueless can you be to be going to a Coldplay concert with the side piece and then...
Who happens to be the HR manager.
Yeah, who's supported by the head of HR, so her underwing. Oh, my golly, what a mess. What a mess. But that is a story for another day.
Well, let's get to our guest, Big Pauly.
Well, our guest here, as I say, we have had this fellow on the go, and we've finally been able to get the dates right, to the world and the moons to align. And I tell you what, we are clueless about lots of things, but this fellow, I think, is going to help us out. He is now, Oga, this guy is a printer by trade. Do you know anybody in the world who still prints? Because I don't, other than our next guest. So we want to talk to him about how the hell printing works these days, and can you make any money? And then we're going to maybe digress a little bit, because he, believe it or not, Oga, he's another fellow podcaster. So we want to talk to him about that. And we know that we've had a couple of issues, technical issues, which is not my department. That's your department. I'm just the paid talent. But we've had a couple of issues. So we are going to talk to our next guest about podcasts. And then he's nearly a professional golfer. He is, if you're ever coming back to the earth after we pass, you want to come back as our next guest. Welcome to the Clueless podcast, Luke Clark. Hello, Lukey.
Thanks, fellas.
Hey, Luke.
Now, first off, thanks for having me on the podcast. I was going to open up by hanging shit on Oga and his technical difficulties, but he started that little intro there. My complete system cut out, and I just logged back on as you cut across to me. So
meant to be. Well, we are at the.
Say. I don't know. With that introduction, I don't know where to start. Printing, podcasting, golfing, but I'm interested in the podcasting. But you said Luke Clark. I thought there was a nickname in there. I thought it was Luke Disco Clark.
Well, we're going to get to that.
I wanted to know why is it disco? Sorry, am I jumping ahead of my Big Pauly?
Well, you're not following the run sheet, Oga. We spent hours on this run sheet, but you've brought it up. Disco, if we can call you that. Mm-hmm. Tell us, how did you become Disco Clark?
Well, it's a podcast thing. So we like, as you just mentioned, I've and a friend of mine been doing a podcast now for a couple of years, and it's a golfing podcast. And I think we had someone write in.
Well, we'll get to the name in soon, so we can cross-pollinate
so
listeners.
The podcast is called the Chilli Dippers, the Chilli Dippers Golf and Lifestyle Podcast. And someone wrote in one day and asked if we had a golfing nickname, what would it be? And I jokingly said, I'd like it to be Disco, because, when I was younger, you could always find me on the dance floor. Playing golf, you could always find me on the green, which is another name for dance floor sort of thing. And it just it was a bit off the cuff, sort of just left field sort of comment, and it just stuck. And then the podcast, we sort of started introducing ourselves as those nicknames that we come up with. And a few people call me that, but it's mainly just the podcasting.
And you are a dancer, though, Luke. Well, you are a dancer back in the day.
Oh, wow. Quality of dance, I don't know, but you could find me on the dance floor back in the day.
There's no quality about it. We've probably all seen Big Pauly dance. I mean, he's not afraid of the dance floor. But,
no, he's not afraid of the dance floor or the spotlight.
If you haven't if you haven't done the worm in your life and got your shirt all dirty from the dance floor, well, you just really haven't lived. But welcome disco. But again, just going back a step, I tell you what, if somebody said to me, "What would you like your nickname to be?" I could think of other things than disco. I tell you. Anyway, disco.
Yes.
Printing.
Yes.
Printing. Who the hell uses a printer anymore?
wow.
Tell us. Enlighten us, please.
It's one of those things, like you'll be on the golf course playing with some, random, like you haven't met before, and you do the old standard, what do you do for a living? The second I say, I'm a commercial printer, and they turn around and look at you and go, geez, how's that going these days? I get that all the time, and I had the standard response. Look, I know it's not an industry that's going to the moon by any chance, but it's. When we started in the two towns we've got businesses in, there was a total of about 6 printers, and we're sort of the only ones left now in both towns. So we sort of got the monopoly. So we go along okay, and it's just one of those things.
You've swallowed them all up. You've swallowed your competition.
Whether it's
the conglomerate
what we've been doing good or just what they've been doing bad, I don't know.
Or they saw the light and bolted.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we've just stuck it in. So, when I started, I studied graphic design, and that was the plan. Move to Melbourne, be a graphic designer, blah blah blah. And I just thought I'll do a year at home. Went into the local printer. Do you need a hand? Yep. Started working there. It was supposed to be just a summer thing, and just really liked the environment. Just loved the boss, loved all the people there. It was just good fun, and ended up just buying the business off him and setting up another one, and away we went.
And what are you printing, Lukey? Disco.
So it's pretty much anything on paper. So our big thing is, which is it's an old school
money
industry. Yeah, it'd be nice. I thought about it. Invoice books, those triplicate NCR books. That's our big money spinner, because a lot of the places around don't want to do them, and so that's all. We've got printers out the back that's all they do. That's our big money spinner.
And you're operating in a country environment, so you're printing invoice books and money books and receipt
letterheads, business cards.
Has anybody in those country environments heard of MYOB?
Zero.
Or perhaps some of those other software
I think the problem is, I think they're just starting to. I think it's getting a little bit more popular.
Well, it might be time to start thinking about an exit plan. I'm starting to think
there's zero
Lukey.
things here to stay. Unfortunately. No, it's not a fad.
It's not just a phase.
I went through a printing business, I don't know, 80 years ago. And do you have the big machines and the plates come off them and they slap them together and all this sort of stuff?
You walk out the back of our factory.
You haven't.
It is old
Don't
school.
tell me you have.
You would think some of the machines that was something like Fred Flintstone was running back in the day. They are the full-on old school, but they don't skip a beat, mate. They just keep clicking. We've barely spent money on the press, like the big presses, since day dot. I've been doing it for 25 years and barely a part's broken. They're just workhorses. They just keep going.
Oh, well, I tell you what.
And look, it's pushing into the digital side of things, but yeah, we still got those out the back. Yeah.
Yeah. Who would have thought? Yeah. 2025.
I tell you what, though, if you've been doing it that long, it's 25 years, and the machines are probably, I don't know,
50,
25, 50, 70 years old. So I've got some good news for you, I think. It's a bit like fashion. These things will maybe eventually come back, and they'll be relics, and you'll be antiques, and you'll make a fortune.
Look, we got one machine out the back that we don't use anymore. But people are setting these letterpresses up in Melbourne and charging hundreds of dollars to print a invite to a wedding on them, which you couldn't tell they were print on a letterpress, but because they know they'll print on, people are paying big dollars for it. You're right, it's already happening. But we haven't turned ours on.
So it sounds like maybe. So maybe you may not have a printing problem, Lukey, Disco. You may have a marketing problem. So how's about we get onto some marketing down in the big smoke and get you literally printing cash. We love cash.
You'll hit me up. Get the plan together.
Well, there you go, Oga. Now we know that printers actually exist, and as you know, I'm in real estate.
Next time you get married, that we know where to get our invitations done.
You wouldn't do it twice, would you? Surely not. Once is enough. Now, I actually, speaking of printing, as we were, so I'm in real estate.
Yep.
As you know, we know. I went to a real estate printer, effectively the biggest in Melbourne, and they print all the boards. They print they print everything. It was, and it's probably a little bit like your factory, Luke. Unbelievable. The technology in these things, how they produce these boards and how they paint them, like it was a full-on factory. It was actually, and the run sheets on the computer and all that said, probably the same as how you run your shop, Luke, but it was amazing. So you're not far behind, but I reckon in a couple more years, those big relics you got out the back, they're going to be cashing in.
That sort of stuff, like we've got companies that print that stuff for us, and they print it for trade only. So because the machinery is so expensive, to get those machines that want to print the big boards and that sort of stuff, you're forking out millions. And in the country towns, there's just
I would hate to think how much. I would hate to think this joint. It's frightening. Millions and millions and millions of dollars for the technology and the materials. It absolutely blows your mind. So printing. You got any more questions on printing? Has that enlightened you, Oga, about there is still printers out there, hardcore, salt to the earth printers, printing receipt books and invoices,
one-colour
they're
presses.
just totally oblivious.
Well, years back, Lukey, I used to work for Yellow Pages, White Pages. So that's when they were A to K elders there, both of them. And no, I wasn't in They had a place in Sydney that just all year round was just printing books. But then the internet came in and that slowed down. This won't take off. Let's take it on. There was actually a famous comment that I think the CEO of might have been Telstra at the time who owned us, and they said, Google schmoogle. They're like, are you serious? Yeah. Are you serious? That's dated really well, right?
Well, I knew really a bloke, again, going back a little while now, when fax machines came in, and this guy was a pretty big operator, and he said, and we're talking years ago, doing multi-million dollars worth of business in sports goods. He had a big factory as well. It was stock all over the joint. And they said, well, we're going to start using fax machines. And this guy, who was worth millions, said to us, he goes, I don't need one of those. I'll just come up and borrow yours. And that's what he thought for the first 6 months. And then, of course, he cottoned on and continued to make millions and millions of dollars. Well, I think printing, I'm on board with printing. Before we spoke to disco, the only two things I knew about printing was cyan and magenta.
Very nice.
And now I'm all over it. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening out there and you need an invoice book and your MYOB or a zero is broken down, you contact us and we'll put you in touch with one of the greatest printers in the country of Victoria. How's that for a wrap, Lukey boy?
Very good, mate. Very good.
Well, printing, I think we can tick that off. We're much further advanced now. Now, podcasts. I mean, we are absolutely privileged to be here with you because now, how many shows have you done, Luke?
It's pushing 160 now. 160, I think, shows.
Are they weekly or fortnightly?
No, when we started, we were weekly. We were weekly for probably about a year, and then sort of went to fortnightly. But it's a little bit harder now because the guy I do the podcast with lives in Melbourne, so we sort of catch up now, and we'll like I said, it's a golf podcast.
He runs a printing business in Melbourne as well.
We'll go play.
Has he heard of the internet?
Well, he moved to New Zealand for a few years, and we were doing them via the internet. But now we just sort of catch up for over a weekend. We record 5 or 6 pods. We bring them out fortnightly, just whenever we've got them now. So it has slowed down a little bit, I must admit.
Well, 160 odd episodes, Oga. We are not far behind. I reckon, by my calculations, Oga, we're probably 153 behind. But, hey.
We count the toast burners, though. I'm an old school listener from the toast burners. I still remember.
There we go. They might come out of the woodwork, the toast burners listeners.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I reckon Oga and I, we would have done, we brought the bat up for toast burners. I remembered we raised 100. We did a whole run of, we made the best of toast burners CDs. We are going back a little bit, and we printed and
CDs.
We printed and
we couldn't get the covers printed.
We should have got hold of a printer. So I think we printed 100 CDs. I think we did the best of 100, and I gave one to my brother. You gave one, I think, to your sister, and we've got 98 left. So if you like this stuff and you want a CD, we might have to go deep to the garage.
I must admit, I did the artwork for your actual your little icon on the back in the day was I like the icon, the little bit of burnt toast.
Was that you, Oga? Because I never
it's
saw
totally
that.
original. It's just that.
Oga, you.
I think, yeah,
And
I
good
think,
name too. Great
I probably
name.
went to a graphic designer for it because we didn't have AI back then, or might have been a basic clip art back in those days. We're ahead of our time, Big Pauly.
Things have changed.
Now, Lukey, I just want to come back. So you're releasing fortnightly, but you're recording face to face, and you do a batch recording.
Yep. So
you might do 4 or 5 in a weekend.
Yeah, we do. We'll sit up till like 2 a.m, recording them on. Then, when we first started, there was a lot of editing involved. Now we just hit record and hit stop at the end. So we very little, and then just upload it, sort of thing. So it's a lot easier these days.
Does that format sound familiar, Oga?
Well, sometimes I got to edit you, so you stop talking over everybody. But we don't want to be. I don't want to spend my whole time editing either. So
we've just skipped the first up till 2 a.m. episodes and gone straight to the just let it ride.
Yeah,
that's right.
Like the radio days.
Right.
Yeah. So,
and why did you get into it, Lukey? What was the inspiration to start a podcast?
I've got to sort of tip my hat to the Dave Rolson, who I do the podcast with, who is actually really good at it. He could do this for a living. He has got the gift of the gab.
More importantly, Lukey, I've heard him. He has got the most beautiful radio voice you'd ever. He's deep, and very good. He could be on radio every day of the week. Gold rolls.
He absolutely could. We sort of spoke because I listen to it because I travel 45 minutes to work every day. I listen to a lot of podcasts and I love it. And we spoke about doing one, and it was almost going to be back in the day. It was nearly going to be poker because we played a lot of poker back in the day, and that's what it was going to be. And then I started this thing where Golf Digest magazine bring out a top 100 golf courses in Australia every 2 years. So I started off thinking, that's an idea. I'm going to try to play all 100 of these golf courses. So I've got a cabinet on the wall hanging behind me here. It's got a spot for 100 golf balls. And when I play one of those courses, I put the ball in the hole, and every 2 years the list gets reshuffled. I shuffle the balls. Some come out, some go in. And we talked about that. And then he actually came up with the idea. He said, why don't we do a golf podcast? So when we traveled, because he was a bit like me, no kids can just drop, he can just get in the car and go anywhere at the drop of a hat. And he sort of suggested, why don't we do a podcast on the golf courses? We'll go and play somewhere, and then we'll talk about so each podcast generally has an actual course attached to it. So then we review the course very loosely, not actually like more sort of, is the pro shop good? Is there a good place down the road to get a pie? All that sort of stuff.
Important stuff.
And then the second half of it, then the second half is just we've got certain segments and it's just talking shit, really. I'd always try to make it more golf related. He tries to steer away from it, which works well because we've got a lot of people who aren't golfers who listen to the podcast. It was pretty much his idea. So why don't we do a golf podcast? We sat down and just hit record one day, and it sort of morphed into what it is today.
I've listened to one recently, and one of those segments was pantry or the fridge, and so he was saying it, and you were going, and you were responding, and he's like, he was telling you whether you were right or wrong.
Right or wrong, yeah. So we got a segment called What's Better. So the rules are it started off What's Better, this or Steve Nim Sims, fried dim sims, and I would give my answer, and the rules are what he thinks is the answer. So he has to say, no, you're wrong. This and that's sort of, so it led to, fridge or pantry. So
it's a fried dim sim though, isn't it?
I can't. I think I went with steamed. I think it's whatever you're having at the time. That's what I think I said. If I'm having a steamed, I'm going, nah, steamed's better.
Steamed, you can walk in and walk out pretty quick. The fried, maybe, unless you're in little Bay Marie setup, the fried might have to be, cooked itself. I'll take both.
So you started in 2018, Lukey?
That sounds about right. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, feels like yesterday, but yeah.
And you're still enjoying it?
Yeah. It's one of it's funny though. He says to me every time, like, we'll come down and play, because you go out and you play golf and you go out and you shoot 82 and you come home and you just couldn't be bothered.
Is that bad?
Is that for 18?
and you sit. The last thing I want to do is start podcasting. I just want to sit down, put a movie on, and just have a beer and call it a night. And you think, oh shit, we've got to do bloody podcasts. But he always says it takes ages to get me to sit down on a computer. He said, but once you hit record, he said everything changes. You light up and you go to the intro and away. Once I'm doing them, it's the most fun thing in the world. And but it's like mowing the lawns. I hate the thought of having to go and mow the lawns. But once I'm out there, it's not too bad.
By the way, says talking about mowing the lawn, says a bloke who's got that robot lawnmower thing that just presses remote and off he goes.
I don't mow lawns anymore.
That must have worn off quickly. So we touched on golf. So you are a handy golfer.
What's the handicap, Leggy?
It's about 6, I think.
6, yeah.
Okay, so 82 is, just to be clear, 82 is a bad day.
Oh, no, I'll take 82 most days. It's about my average, yeah. I should have gone higher on that number.
Now, did you once say when you were playing golf, and you started a few years ago, and you work hard at it, you train hard, you play often, all that sort of stuff. How many times a week, just for the listeners' verification?
During summer, it's every night. Like, I live on a golf course. Like, I look out my window here and I'm staring at a green. I'm staring at the 15th green at Blackpool. So during daylight, like, I mark the calendar off to the start of daylight savings. I live for it. And then I come home from work, get in the golf cart, straight out, and I've got the entire golf course to myself, and I don't come in till I can't see the golf ball anymore. That's every night. And then obviously you play the comp on the weekends. But during winter, it's a little bit different. I get home and it's dark. So I've built a hitting net in the backyard. So I'll do a fair bit of hitting in there when it's winter and
I've seen this hitting net. I'm not talking about a net from Temu here. Yeah. I'm talking about the fully built everything. Like it is as good as you would see down the driving range. So you play golf a lot. Yeah. You work hard at it, and you deserve as much as you can. Now, is it true though? You love your golf, and there's no way that. So, did you or did you not provide an ultimatum to a previous girlfriend about your golfing habits on one time? You
remind me.
Well,
you obviously
this goes back now. Luke is happily.
He hasn't forgotten.
Luke is happily engaged now. We're not quite sure when the wedding date is coming, but I recall.
Do you know where to print some invites, though?
Yeah, I might
send
get
them to Melbourne. You said, now, I'm going to try and remember. You once said to her what you thought was the love of your life. She was all loved you, and you like your own space. And did you not, or did you say to her one day? She asked to move in. She asked to move into the big Luke mansion, and you said to her, "We had to think about it for a week." But after a week, you thought, "Look, okay." You can move in, and that's look, I think I love you, but I'm not really sure. But okay, but there's some rules. One, you have to contribute to the rent. Well, that's probably fair, I guess. So yeah, because she said yes, contribute to the rent, and then the second one was, and you have to cook and clean a bit. You have to pull your weight cooking and cleaning, and she said, well, of course, yes, that's okay. And the third stipulation of her moving in, yes or no, disco, was yes, but never ask me what time I'll be home from golf. Did you or did you not say that as the third stipulation of your girlfriend at the time moving in?
Now, yes, I did. The answer, the third stipulation, and now hearing that out loud makes me. It's why I'm about my 44th girlfriend or partner. But the first two were a little bit around the wrong way. I said, "Don't pay rent because you're probably going to do the cooking and cleaning." And the third part was right. And look, and I think the reason why I finally settled down, I've recently got engaged. But one of the first nights I met Karen, she actually said to me, she goes, "You actually don't mind your boys' trips away and playing golf and doing all that sort of stuff, don't you?" And I'm like, "Oh, here we go." And I said, "Yeah, I do. And she goes, "Well, that's good. I love going to work. You do that as much as you can, and as long as I can be at work." And I thought, shit, this might work.
How he hasn't got married yet, I don't know. How he hasn't managed to.
You show me one bloke who gets asked that question. You go, you really like those boys' weekends, do you?
Nah, they're all right. I only go because of peer pressure.
Just mental health. I've read it was good for your mental health. That's why I go.
So just going back a fraction. Now, that girl with the third stipulation.
Have you gone off the run sheet again, Big Paul?
How long did that relationship last, Disco? The one that said
longer than it should have. Longer than it should
surely
have.
It couldn't have lasted any more than 2 weeks.
Which one was the deal breaker?
After that?
Maybe, I don't know, maybe
a year.
It's hard.
She put up with that for a year. Oh my God. You should be grabbing that Karen of yours and waltzing down the aisle next week, if you ask me. Anyway,
So, Luke, I just want to come back to you mentioned 100 courses.
Yep.
And you have to change every 2 years, and you've got, balls come in, balls come out. Right now, how many have you played at of the 100 that are current?
Okay, so I'm at about 86, I think, but it's hard because at the start there's a lot of local, like Victoria, sort of that you can get to and play. Now the remainders are Hamilton Island, Alice Springs, and like you can go to Sydney for like a week, and Rolls and I do go there for a week, and we'd play every day at a different course. And we don't mind driving. We'd drive an hour and a half to 2 hours, and you can tick 5 off in a week and come home. Where now we've sort of done most of the easy to get to ones. But the second thing that made it tough was I was originally doing the top 100 public access golf courses, right? A few years back, I got access to Golf Digest to bring out the top 100 overall courses. I got on the panel to help rate the courses, to put that list together. So now I've technically got access to most courses in Australia. So now I've sort of stopped playing the top 100 public ones because you go to somewhere like Queensland, Sydney or Adelaide, and all of a sudden you can get access to these better courses. So I go and play those. So the original plan of playing the top 100 public sort of started fading out, as it making it a little tough, because you get all the easy ones off, and then you started playing the.
So you actually thought you were too good for the public courses and just moved on to the other ones?
No, I'm not a golf snob. People say all the time because they know I've played a lot of, do a lot of travel and play a lot of courses. Yeah, I'll play anywhere. No, that's not the case at all.
And you have played anywhere. You've played overseas. You go on a lot of golf tours with the approval of the bride-to-be, of course. Not that you asked her, but so you're playing golf all over the world, and you played with probably, I'd imagine, some semi-famous people. Is there anyone that stands out that, Oga and I are, well, I think Oga's, we like our golf, but I don't think we're in your class. I mean, we're not white belt wearers, because I do remember you also saying, as soon as I get under 10, I'm wearing a white belt, and you haven't taken it off since. But is there anybody that you have played with that we might know, I'm not saying a Tiger Woods or a Scotty Scheffler, but anyone that, maybe we know?
No, look, I've got a friend that plays on the Legends Tour, which is the over 50s senior tour, and so I've played with a lot of the guys on that tour. But if you're talking about standout, there is one. Whether he stands out for the right or wrong reason, there's a guy that comes down to Blackpool a little bit called the Matador. He calls himself the Matador.
He calls himself.
I've heard of him.
So calls himself the Matador because he reckons he thinks he slays the Black Bull when he comes down here. Now this guy plays off about 30, right? And he's never broke 36 points since he's ever come down here, but he still calls himself the Matador.
But it's like the bloke who turns up to the local footy club and he's going, they call me the Fox. He talks up his resume. Before the internet, they go, this guy might play. First 2 seconds of running at the ball, you're going, who is this flog?
Well, this bloke walks into the pro shop and announces himself, claps his hands, and the Matador is here. This is what he's all about.
He must be a legend.
Well, they all know of him. That's for sure.
Do you know the Matador, Luke? Have you heard of the Matador, Oga? No. Well, probably best that was.
You want to tell him?
Look, the Matador is a freak. Unbelievable freak. Gets up there, dominates the course, eats all the pies. I know him.
It sometimes refers to himself as Big Pauly. Sometimes referred. But
it was self-proclaimed as originally, perhaps. Okay, I'll confess, I gave myself the name the Matador, and.
Oh, it's you!
Yes.
Yes.
I fucking totally missed that.
I assumed you knew
totally
it.
clueless by that.
And just going back a couple of steps.
I was thinking this guy had long hair, he's just rolling in. He might have even had
Couldn't
the
be
bloody
more wrong.
bullfighting cape going.
But I did.
Oh, my God.
Well, don't tell him
I
about
did
the
have
cape.
42 points one day at the Black Bull, but the problem was I was off about 39. And one day I will slay that course one day. I just haven't been able to put it all together.
I remember we booked into I booked us into the RACV Torquay one time. Booked you and I in. We walked in and I just done a regular booking. Walked in and the guy said, who's the Matador? And Paul goes, that's me. And the other guy in the pro shop goes, I've been waiting to see who the Matador was. I'm like, how the hell? I don't even, to this day, don't know how it got into the booking sheet as the Matador.
Well,
an inspection will disappoint. But I did play out of my skin that day, and we took the money. So one day I'm going to be good.
Yeah, we
at this.
did. Yeah, we absolutely did.
One day I'm going to be
So
good.
again, a question here, Lukey. Golf,
Yeah, mate.
golf/podcast. So is there someone? Is there a golfer you would love to have on your podcast, and is there a golfer you would like to play golf with? Is it the same person, or would it be different?
I think we've already spoken about that, the Matador.
Oh, if you're talking about who I'd like to have around a golf with, I've always said, look, there's plenty. Obviously, you got to go Tiger, you got to go Rory, all the big names. But I'd like to play with one of the LPGA women professional golfers on my own home course. So I know where a good drive should land, but I'd love to see where theirs land and just the way they play the game, because it's a different type of game. And I really enjoy watching, but nearly prefer watching the women on television. It's more relatable, just how slow their swings are and just how well they putt in their short game. I'd like to take one of the LPGA, any of the LPGA around the home, particularly the home course, because you know it inside out.
And I can vouch for that. Playing up at Black Bull as the Matador, and they're clapping me on the first tee and all that sort of stuff. I've never played with anybody, and fair enough, he plays 487 times a year on the same course, but I've never. Every time you hit a ball with Luke, the disco, and his brother, you start swearing, oh, that's out, that's this, oh, God, I'm going to be sure I'm going to be in the water. Well, I do anyway. No, you'll be right, mate. You'll be 2 feet outside just inside the red mark, and I'm telling you, they find it every single time, and they just know. And the same with their shots. They'll say, oh, that's a bit long, that's a bit short, that's a bit whatever. And they could just about, from 300 yards, pinpoint where their ball's going to go. So they know all the undulations and everything of the course. It's actually quite phenomenal. But as I said, you've played it a few times.
Yeah, I've looped it a couple of times. Yeah, but as far as on the pod, yeah, we've done a couple of interview style podcasts, and a lot of people say they have been our best ones. So we keep saying we need to do more of them, especially now when we're not getting to as many courses because we've played most of the ones that we've potted about. So we don't like to double up on them. We keep saying we've got access to a few, some decent players and people. We should be doing more actual interview styles.
Well, I just want to let you know that I've just checked my diary, and the Matador and Oga, we could be available to reciprocate on your podcast. I'm not quite sure what I've got to offer, but hey,
you've been on there.
We're open to that, aren't we, Oga? A bit of cross-pollination.
He was telling everyone about it too when he was on there. He more talked about himself than anything else. I don't think Disco and Cannon got a mention. Just in a podcast, has podcasting changed the way you talk, listen, or think? In the sense of does something happen where it's an idea you might, we could talk about that, or is it all just fresh off the cuff?
Well, one of the hard things is something, and we do this all the time, we'll call each other on the phone and we'll start by saying, I wasn't going to say this, I was going to save it for the pod, but this happened, because we like to do things on the podcast, nothing scripted. We like to have natural reactions. So a lot of times we will save stories or things that happen for the podcast. So that's one thing that's definitely changed. And earlier on, there was a couple of, I used to always say, me and the Matador and people off the podcast would say, it's a Matador and I. And I used to think that was so dumb. I'm like, does it matter? But now I listen back to my old podcast and I shudder when I say the Matador and me were doing this. So there's a couple of things where I've tried to improve the way I talk and that sort of stuff. But yeah, no, a lot of the podcast is, like I said, we just, before we start recording, we think, what are we going to do? And I just say the same thing. Let's just hit record and see what happens. Okay. And 35 minutes later, we're hitting stop and the podcast is
what
over.
Tells you if it's a good show? Just that, whether you've had a good time?
Yeah. Pretty much how much. I think a lot of the podcasts.
Well, this has been a cracking show, Oga.
when we're laughing, I think, and I say this to him all the time. When I listen to other podcasts and the hosts are like in hysterics, I find myself you've just got a big smile on your face, because you don't even if you tune in late, you don't even know what they're talking about. But just because they're laughing, it's infectious. So and like I said, the guy who do the podcast, I generally think he is very funny. So it is pretty easy to get a laugh going.
Well, I'm still working on Big Pauly, but
I bet so. I feel sorry for you, Oga.
We've got a bit of work to to do, Oga.
And just lastly, the podcast. Do you have a favourite episode? I think you mentioned one before.
Yeah, the interview ones, but I think it's the last one we did. I just come up. Well, I shouldn't say I come up with a segment. It's a segment going through a lot of podcasts at the minute, which I just seen on Instagram. We don't like to try to rip material off, but this was just like a blind rank.
Luke,
and you just say to the other person, and I said, I'm just going to give you. I'm going to give you some topics here, and you're just going to blind rank them. And I threw a particular. It was things about the first bite of a hamburger when you're really hungry, and he go, "Oh, I like that. I want to put that at 3." And then the last one was I threw one in there specifically for him because I knew he'd cook. I knew he'd just go to town on this one thing, and it just worked so well. It was just and one of the few pods that come out where everyone the next day was texting me going, "That's one of the best pods." Even my brother said, he goes, "We were in the car." He said, "Our kids were in us." Crying, laughing.
Yeah.
So the latest one, I think there's a little segment that I really enjoyed.
Yeah, awesome. Great to hear, Big Pauly. You got anything? I'm going to move on to some golf questions.
Well, yeah, we might take some of those ideas on board and see. We might take that off air and maybe do something for our next time, Oga, and a little pop quiz.
Speaking of ripping material off, Marty Sheargold stole one of our actual segments. We started a segment called Did You Know? Where we go back and forth just saying little topics of did you know that this, and this. And about a few weeks after that, he just randomly came out with his own segment called I Did Not Know That. And it's almost identical. Look, obviously, no one's heard our podcast, but we joke about that the great Marty Sheargold's ripping our material off.
In the original
surely
Toast
the
Burners
royalties are
days,
flowing in.
I did Toast Burners twice, one without Big Pauly, and we had What's Going On There, which we then also did, right?
Oh, that's
What's going on there? What's going on there, right?
That was my favourite
Someone
segment.
came up with, what the? I don't know who it was. It could have been Rove or something. What the? And then Richmond Football Club had, it was a .05. TAC, .05. Someone comes out of the MCG looking for their car. They've had a few beers. You see them coming out there, and they're trying to put their key in the car. And they had a tiger sticker on the car that then turns around and growls. And he goes, "What's going on there?" I'm like, what? What?
Have you been collecting royalties, Oga, without telling me?
Just forget about us.
The Chilli Dippers might have to bring back What's Going On There.
Might have to. I just want to talk about golf etiquette, right? Yep. Nothing serious here.
Yeah. One
thing that really shits me is people not raking bunkers. What's your biggest piss off on the course?
That's up there. And you know what? A lot of people... it doesn't matter where you go. Like people always say, it's the members, or some people say, it's the visitors. But you go and play Peninsula Kingswood, which is one of the best golf courses in Australia, like in the world, and you got the same
at
problem.
9 a.m. in the morning. There's not that many that could have gone out first.
It's not hard to rake it. Yeah. So when I go out on a weeknight by myself, I'm fixing
the day's work.
10 divots on every. No, that really gets under my skin.
I play with a couple of my kids, but. At this time, so let's put your thoughts on this, right? The ball's been putted. The ball is rolling. Nothing can happen to that ball. All the way there, it's online, and it's 80% of the way there. I'm going, that's a good putt. It tapers off and misses.
Yep.
Dad, you can't say that. I'm like...
yeah, I've got thoughts on this.
I was sort of, so I get it. You don't want to be, it's like the early crow or whatever, but at the same time, I'm like... Well, the fact that I said it didn't make it miss it, but...
I'm with you, mate. There's a lot of people that annoys, and I don't understand. I don't understand how that annoys you. Like, your sound waves didn't knock that ball out.
If it goes in, you're sort of amongst it, and you're up and about. You have to wait till it's the bottom of the cup, and you go, good shot.
Nah, I'm with you on that, mate.
Love it.
Nah, people need to get over that.
Probably a little worse than that, Oga, and I may have been a fraction guilty of this myself, is a little bit of a walk in the putt. Follow the putt into the hole. And then there's that awkward walk of shame where, I've missed. And you don't just miss by a half roll. I've walked them in and missed by 3 feet. And
I don't think I've ever seen you walk one that's gone in.
Well, I did one day. But it was the problem,
Imagine the pop from the Matador going, oh, what a...
You know, we've played some matches where the Matador has been on my brother's team, and he's got like a 4-foot putt to win the hole. And I love going, it'd be real cool, Paul, if you walk this one in. And my brother fucking hates it. He looks at me as if he walks this thing in, and he can't help it. He cannot help it. He'll walk it in.
You threw it out there. You threw the hook.
Yeah. We played a challenge a little while ago now, and I was matched with I was teammated with Luke's brother, and anyway, I now wear a pair of shoes that we won on the tournament, and it was Ambrose. No, what was it, Luke? It was Ambrose.
Yeah, Ambrose, 2-person Ambrose. Yeah.
So 2-person Ambrose. So we won, our team. We won closest to the pin on something, and the longest drive on something else, and whatever else. It was a plethora of prizes. I had to take the trailer to get the prizes. I did not earn one of them. So I've got a brand new pair of Adidas something or others. And,
I was going to say, when you were saying we did this and we done that.
It was next to embarrassing that I won all these prizes and did not carry the weight at all. And poor old mate, he was smashing them everywhere. No shame. Took them, still wearing them. And I'm still 4-putting.
Now, just to finish for me, Lukey, so we're on the golf course, and I just want to know what some of your favourite, comments would be that you could say for the rest of every hole, right? So the one I love is when there's a putt, let's call it a 15-footer. It looks amazing, or it drops short, or sits on the edge, or rolls around the cup, and you can sit there and go, never look like it.
Yeah.
What have you got for us? You got anything else?
Yeah, I'll tell you one that I love throwing out there is, and I do it more so when somebody else outdrives somebody. Like if they're on my team and let's say you knock it past Paulie's ball.
No problem.
I love saying to Paulie, hey, Paulie, see they're building a new supermarket in Yarrawonga, and it gets them every time. They go, huh? Really? Whereabouts? Between your ball and Oga's. And it gets them every time.
The other one, they hit it in the shit. They hit it, well, it looks like the shit. It may open up and you may know your black ball really well and go, well, it should be fine out there, but it looks like it's in trouble. We go, don't worry about it. It's not as bad as it looks. And then the other one goes, yeah, I think it opens up out there. And you get out there and there's nothing open whatsoever. Every time. I can say it every hole. Don't worry about it.
I played the cut in Perth, and I was playing with Rolls, and we got paired with this old bloke, and he was one of those guys. Every time we hit it, it's fine there, mate, it's fine. And Rolls hit this one drive, and the bloke goes, it's fine, mate. I think it'll be right around there. And Rolls looks at him and goes, it's in the fucking bush. Like we seen it bounce and just go thunk, and disappear. This bloke's like, it'll be right down there, mate.
Don't need a provisional.
I can see it. It went in the bush.
Well, look, this has been great. Really enjoyed all coverage. We've covered off multiple Clueless aspects here: printing, podcasting, golfing. I'm loving that. I'm going to tell my kids about this. Let's play this guy. He plays 487 times a year, and he says once the ball is rolling, it is okay. It's been great. Yeah. Great insight to us as well. Love some insights around the podcasting, and look forward to the invite being on the Chilli Dippers one day.
Anytime, mate. Hey, we've got the house on the golf course here. If you want to come down, we can set you up and we'll play some rounds. And
I got to think of my nickname coming in. The Matadors. The Matadors here. He's brought a friend.
Well, that will happen if you go up there. You just say the Matador sent you.
I don't even know if they know his first real name. I don't think they know his name down here. It's just the Matador, and I have to refer to him as that whenever I'm mentioning it to people.
The Matador's coming up. Oh, g'day, Matador. How you going? And one day, I'm going to shoot the joint out, and I'll tell you what, you'll hear about it for weeks and months, and I might even retire after that. But I have a problem with the Danny DeVito putts, Oga.
Matt, one of the pro shop guys, Ranger, had a albatross today. Got the text message from him on course. That's a very
that's 2 on a par 5.
Well, that's rarer than a hole in one.
That's amazing. That's like a hole in one on a par 4, right? Yeah, okay. It's amazing.
The seventh, where that other block is.
That other, yes, the seventh. Yeah, I think I've eagled that myself.
Yep.
After 4 shots.
Must have been when I wasn't there.
Yeah. Well, a lot of stuff
Pauly.
happens in my head. It said, "Yes, Ogre, it has been a pleasure. We are with one of the greatest podcasters, one of the greatest golfers, one of the greatest man husbands who just gets everything. And if we, as I said when we started, if we all got to go to heaven sometime. But when we come back, if we're coming back as Disco, we are living the life. Luke Clark, disco printer, podcaster, golfer extraordinaire. Thank you very much for joining us, great man.
Thanks for having us, boy. Thanks for having me, boys.
Go on, you,
Appreciate it.
Lukey.
See you, Lukey. Ogre, another
mate.
fantastic episode. Who have we got coming up next?
Well, Paulie, I'm pretty impressed with your first, guest that you've brought in, Lukey Disco Clark. Well done to you.
He's a man of many talents, and what I found, Ogre, with a lot of our guests thus far is we could talk for hours. They're great characters. They've got great stories, and we only touched on a couple there with Lukey. The things that we're clueless about, of course, the printing, and I'm clueless about golf, as we've just learned, and podcasts. Well,
And me, I was clueless about the Matador.
well.
Like, it was all set up for me, and I still didn't pick up that it was you.
And we didn't actually.
I had Jimenez. I had the golfer Jimenez in my head. I don't know
Well-
why. He's smoking the cigars, the big mo, strutting around.
That's how I portray myself when I go up there. And as we say in real estate, sometimes an inspection will disappoint. But one day I'm going to go up there and slay it, live up to my nickname. And yes, hopefully that will be sometime in the not too distant future. But Luke lives on the course, great characters, plays great golf, and always very accommodating. And I think it's probably fair to say he is the mayor of Yarrawonga.
Love that. I didn't ask him how many white belts he had. I didn't know the white belt was a signature of under 10 handicapper.
That was his thing, if I get under 10. And I think that's fair enough. And I haven't seen him match it with white pants, but I reckon that's coming. White belt, white pants. And my goodness, you have to be able to play if you're wearing white pants and white belt.
I think so. And I love that he's on my side about a bit of sledge, a bit of chirp while the ball's rolling. Never look like it, or even. But the scenario I was talking about was encouraging. It was going, and they don't want the just missed as if it was my fault it missed. So I'm loving he's on my side there.
Golf,
love it.
The
Big
great
Pauly.
thing about golf, it is a fantastic game. I love it. You love it. Luke loves it. And it actually doesn't matter how good or bad you are. The handicap system squares everybody else. You can always be competitive. And that's what we love, bit of banter at golf. And, it said if you're good, bad, or otherwise, you can always have a bloody good time playing golf, I reckon.
And if you want to listen to more of Lukey Disco Clark and his on-air partner, David Cannon Ralston, you can find them on where you find your podcast, and it's called the Chilli Dippers.
Yes, and Luke's actually got his little Chilli Dipper logo on the side of his golf cart as he burns around Black Bull as well. So, a good listen all round.
Another thing, again, I still got more questions, Big Paul. I didn't ask him how he got the name, but that's probably the way they made up Disco and Cannon. It's just made up on the spot.
I think Chilli Dippers refers to shots that are no good. The Chilli Dipper when you actually either miss it or don't hit it very well, I think. But maybe we can Google that, or maybe you out there can Google it. But if you want the second best podcast in the land, go and listen to Chilli Dippers.
Great show, Big Pauly. Until next time, you've been listening to Clueless with Oga and Big Pauly. We would love for you to keep joining us as we keep bringing more guests to you to find out more about what's going on in the world.
Because we are clueless.
You've been listening to another episode of Clueless with Oga and Big Pauly. Follow, like, subscribe, even leave a review. Do it all. We'd love to hear from you.
Hang on. It's okay. We just lost Luke there for a minute. I think but it's okay now. He's just plugged himself into the printer. That'll make the cut, Oga, won't it? Should I say it again just so you can get the edit right?
Pretty happy with
Might
that.
be an outtake.
Oh, that's gold.